With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Martinsville Speedway is the location of the second round of the Precision Racing League Cup Series. It's round 2, week 3, but we did have an Easter Sunday break for these Cup Series drivers. Dylan Coyle alongside Robert Hill, and this half-mile paperclip. It's a joy to be at. Over under 3.5 hot dogs I put as the standard. I was just on the under. I only had 3 hot dogs this weekend in my activities at the track, Robert, but unfortunately, you can't get it virtually here.
We can imagine it, Dylan. I think that's the closest we could probably get to a Martinsville hot dog in the iRacing world. Maybe they could put that into the next hot fix or something. But as of right now, no. Unfortunately, no hot dogs for us tonight. But some great racing action definitely ahead of us here this evening.
100%. I agree with you there. The hot fix hot dog, I think that is a perfect bit of balance. Let's take a look at the schedule. Of course, we started it out at a road course, Circuit of the Americas, the only road course on the season schedule, and it was more domination from Trent Dinkle. Obviously, a bit of a dust-up between he and teammate Abner Acosta, who did recover quite well, but Trent the championship leader right now. And we take a look again. Maverick Davis did get that second place there. He had a really solid race, and I will say I'm impressed with Maverick. The thing is, the question always with him is, can he keep it consistent from race in to race out? It's, you know, he's going to have speed, especially in qualifying. If he doesn't qualify in the top 5, there's a problem. But throughout the race, he burns up the tires very quickly. He's got to work on that, conserving the rubber. He did that at COTA pretty well.
Yeah, he definitely did a good job of saving the rubber, getting himself in a good spot to have a very solid position at the end. Obviously, Abner Acosta ran into some early issues at COTA, was able to rebound coming from the rear of the field to finish inside that top 5 was absolutely incredible. He's currently quickest in qualifying right now. Actually, Maverick Davis going to overtake him, but Trent Dinkle has the speed once again here. Dylan was quickest in practice, top 3 in qualifying right now, so definitely one to watch. And really, all 3 of those guys that we just talked about are the top 3 in qualifying right now.
Absolutely, and you take a look at the team standings, and no surprise there, right? Trent leads the way with Abner Acosta also in the top 5 for private label Team Hype. So no doubt that they are in P1 in the team standings, Pioneer Racing and Maradness M Squad and the podium, but it will be tight as this 9-race calendar does continue to carry on. But at this time, we'd like to thank some of the partners here with the Precision Racing League, and none other than Advanced Sim Racing will start us off, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Maradness. Maradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast. Fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Martinsville, half mile, a paperclip. Always fun to be here, Robert. And as qualifying is just about ready to make its way towards this race, with cars still sitting, as you see the 67 right there. That is a wild looking wrap. I want to say paint scheme, but of course there's
looks
no
like
paint.
Pat Harvey took a little bit of every color available, tossed it onto the back of that car, and he had himself a very solid qualifying run here. Still 40 seconds or so remaining in qualifying, but currently sitting P5. And I got an update from Nick Hunter, the oval organizer here at PRL, just prior to tonight's event, and he mentioned driver Brandon Walter will be starting at the rear of the field, serving a penalty that's still outstanding from last season. So a lot of work ahead for Brandon Walter here tonight in that 99 car. Anytime you have to work your way up through the field here, Dylan, as you know, at Martinsville, it can be quite chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. It is always chaotic here at Martinsville, especially if you've got a late restart. We've seen it pretty much every time any real world series gets to going here. You have that craziness. What did we say? Maverick Davis will get pole position by just 7 thousandths of a second over private label Team Hype's Abner Acosta, and over 19 thousandths of a second past Trent Dinkle, also from private label Team Hype. Look for those three to be competing for the championship if the first race and this qualifying is any indication. Luke Christian rounds out row 2 with Pat Harvey in the top 5. Ryan Scully in 6th place in that 91 machine. James O'Brien, the third private label team hype driver, in 7th with Park Hilliard in 8th. Eric Haag, Nicholas Gowan, Mark Kalin, and Chris Hudson round out the first 6 rows. John Jones, Waldo Walden, Dan Willis, David Stevison, Craig Bray, and Duncan Starostka in the first 9 rows. Jake Mackey and Marshall Harris, your top 20 on qualifying time. Still some cars that did not get a time in qualifying that we hopefully will see on track in this race. 225 laps. That's a lot of racing action. It might go by very quickly, but it is Martinsville. Small mistakes can lead to big problems.
You're definitely right on that. This is going to be a racetrack where the biggest key tonight is going to be keeping your car clean, staying on the racetrack, keeping up in the front of the pack, really, because if you get stuck in the back, it's going to be so easy just to get sucked into one of those incidents. The track blocks really easily, especially with these big cup cars. So stay clean, stay at the front, and you're going to have a very, very solid day here at the Paperclip.
So you want to hear something interesting about this poll for Maverick Davis as we go by for 2 pace laps here behind the iRacing pace car.
Shot right
Maverick Davis. Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful shot heading into turn 1. Maverick Davis, this is his first pole position in PRL competition. So congratulations to Maverick in that 15 Chevy Camaro ZL1. It'll be fun to see what he does and if the tires fall off quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how Maverick Davis manages the lead, how he manages these restarts that we're going to have here at Martinsville. It's going to be all about getting a little bit of a jump and being able to clear yourself into the first corner and kind of set sail a little bit here. But first pole, definitely impressive there for Maverick Davis. I know he has quite a few fans that join us over in the YouTube chat. I checked the feed about an hour before we got going here tonight, Dylan, and there was already people cheering for Maverick Davis to have a good night here tonight. So we'll see what he can do rolling off the pole, and I believe we should be getting set to go green this time.
Maverick Davis has many fans, and they're going to see him lead the field to green flag racing here at Martinsville. Round 2 of the PRL Cup Series Season 2 in 2024 is underway, and Abner Acosta quickly gets shot off to the outside, almost went into the outside wall, and they're wrecking going into turn 1. Yellow flag is out, big pile up, and goodness me, that's the way to start it at Martinsville. Already got the clock going because it is that hour-and-a-half time limit here.
Yeah, looks like Nick Gowan, Luke Christian, and Ryan Scully going to be some of those drivers getting the biggest loss in that incident. We'll take a look on the replay machine here shortly, but it's all triggered, like you said, Dylan, by that slow start by Abner Acosta. Don't know if he missed a shift, just didn't get going in time, but things kicked off very, very quickly. Yeah,
we'll have to check out the replay there. That was just craziness right off the jump, which, I mean, you do have to come to expect, right, with anything, any kind of racing action at Martinsville as
Absolutely.
the fastest lap of the race.
I think we might take that a little
correct.
bit later on.
I mean, it's fun when it's technically correct, you know, because yes, Mark Kalin has said it. I think we're gonna have it's gonna stay for at least a few more laps.
Yeah, that's definitely a good observation there. Mark Kalin, you can have the pride of having the fastest lap in the opening 5 of the race here tonight.
Well,
but Gowan and Christian both on pit road already here, Dylan, so some damage repair for the drivers of the 88 and the 21. Nick Gowan, of course, was one of those front runners a couple of weeks ago at COTA. I believe he finished in the 5th position. Was the driver Trent Dinkle had circled for that event, and here tonight, well, if he wants to get back up there, he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yeah, 100%. And the real problem is if there are a lot of cautions in this race, as you already see 3 cars have ended up down pit road to try and get repairs done. We might almost see a situation where you run out of time, right? 225 laps is 225 laps as we get a replay look here, but that hour-and-a-half time limit is rough. So off the jump, big move right there. Abner Acosta shot out of line by Luke Christian. Christian is now 3 wide. Abner made a mess of that completely.
Yeah, that was a horrible restart, honestly. That's the only way to really put it. Abner Acosta just didn't get going, and unfortunately everyone else behind did. There was just nowhere to go without absolutely getting caught up. We're hearing that there was some tire spin there for Abner Acosta, and yeah, that was pretty clear that it just didn't go his way. That was a huge hit, though, for Ryan Skolny into the outside wall, so some nose damage, potentially down a little bit of power already on that machine, which won't necessarily be catastrophic here at Martinsville, but like you said, of course, you get into a slew of cautions. We only have the 90-minute time limit here today. It could be really tough to work your way up through the field.
Yeah, 100%. As the lights are off on the iRacing pace car, nobody was a lap down, obviously. It was lap 1, so it is a quickie caution. Fastest lap is up on the board. Let's try this again. Maverick Davis on the inside. Trent Dinkle to start on the outside of row 1. Barney's got the green in the air. Maverick leads the way, gets a good jump. Trent Dinkle does not get the best of jumps in the outside line, but he's got some speed and will look to make the move and make it stick on Pat Harvey there into 3.
Dinkle and Davis able to clear, as you did mention, side-by-side battle here between Pat Harvey and Abner Acosta. Acosta going to fall back to position number 4 as Harvey clears up into that 3rd step on the podium. Looking for the first battle on the racetrack. It does appear to be Waldo Walden and John T. Jones, 84 and the 90, side-by-side working their way headed into turn number 3. That's your battle for 9th on the racetrack at the rear end of this shot here. It is going to be Waldo clearing John Jones as Mark Killen and Dan Willis come into the picture now. It's going to be a 3-car battle for position number 10.
Way up the track right there. That's not the line you want to take, even if you're diamonding it here at Martinsville. John Jones in the 90, trying to make up some positions in the top 10 early on in this one. Lap 9 of 225, but 5 minutes into it nonetheless. Trent Dinkle sets the fastest lap of the race right after Maverick Davis did just that. Maverick is going to try and fly away with this one. We've already seen that, right? In his previous races, his previous experience in the PRL, he likes to go from the jump, and it does pay to be aggressive when you've got fresh tires. As the 89 makes a move down the inside of Park Hilliard into turn 3, does not stick for him there, but hey, at least he is there, and he's showing that he's there.
Yeah, it's almost a benefit to show that you're there and that you're going to think about making a move here momentarily, as we do see Eric Haig take a look to the inside of Park Hilliard. They're going to be side-by-side. Hilliard up top, Haig on the inside. Nearly some door-to-door contact there, but those drivers are able to keep it clean and move Eric Haig up to position number 6. Both of these drivers had some great battles at COTA as well together out there on the racetrack. So those battles continuing here at Martinsville. And I just want to point out Ryan Skolny, that 91 car that we saw involved in the earlier incident. He's already been able to gain a couple of positions, currently scored in 17th on the racetrack. So he's recovering nicely so far from the opening lap gaffe that we had. Nick Gowan just behind him as well. So those drivers coming up from the rear, working their way up towards the front. But like you mentioned, Maverick Davis continuing to lead the way ahead of Trent Dinkle. The gap now at just over 0.4 of a second. So we'll see if Maverick Davis might be overworking those tires a little bit, trying to build that gap between himself and Dinkle. But that will definitely become apparent, especially if we do get a longer green flag run. 15 laps down, a lot to go here at Martinsville.
Marshall Harris, the first retirement of the race. Lou Christian, what a shame for Lou, who started, right up with the top of them. And, I do feel almost upset, right, for on his behalf. But Abner, on the first lap of both today and Circuit of the Americas 2 weeks ago, has had issues, whether it's his fault or not. This one was definitely, I'd say, his fault. Last time it could have gone either way, he or Trent, who was right on the rear of Maverick Davis right here. Who knows? I'm not sure, right? Trent, Abner's got to stop making those mistakes so early on because it will cost him in this shortened championship battle. Maverick slid off on the exit of turn 4 and it opened up the door for Trent Dinkle to get a run. Open the door again. Trent just shoves his nose down in there and he's going to go side by side. Momentum to Maverick, but running into 3. Still, this might be advantage Dinkle.
Yeah, absolutely. Dinkle on the inside, Davis up top. They're going to be side by side at the line. It is going to be Trent Dinkle that I do believe leads that lap. If not, it was very, very close this time. But it looks like Trent Dinkle is going to be able to clear as they head for turn number 3 once again. Maverick Davis not really giving it up here, Dylan. He is absolutely pushing. Step on it too hard and gets sideways. Maverick Davis goes for a spin here on the front straightaway. Caution out here on lap number 21. That was your second place car, Maverick Davis.
Overcooked the tires. Oh,
Absolutely.
Maverick. He's so close to getting it together to really compete for a championship. You just want to see him just work on those tires, work on the car with a little bit more care than that. We'll take a look at the replay in just a few moments here. You know, for Maverick, he kind of got lucky that he wasn't able to get the car turned to the right once again down the straightaway. As Robert, we take a look here.
Yeah, once again, just looking at Maverick Davis, I think he actually clips the apron on the inside. Yeah, Nick just confirming that for us. He gets just a little bit too tight on the inside. So easy to do that, Dylan. Coming off of turn number 4 and, of course, going through 1 and 2. I find 2 a little bit worse, but so easy to make the mistake that Maverick Davis did. But as a front runner, you cannot afford to make that mistake.
Yeah, you can't, and there's a reason why even with an Abner Acosta Circuit of the Americas, you know, problem, mistake, whatever you want to call it, he still climbed back into the top 5 of that race because Abner is one of the top drivers in the series. Maverick is showing the potential, something like that. It's part of the learning process, but we have seen it a lot, right? Where he does, you know, make, you know, almost put the wheel forward. He's thinking a little bit too far behind what he's actually doing. It's there. You can see it, and he will climb up this leaderboard. He might ruffle a few feathers, though to do it. Nonetheless, Trent Dinkle is in the lead of this race, just took the position away from Maverick right before Davis spun, and in a lap or two, we'll get back to green flag racing. Pat Harvey in second. Does Harvey have anything to say when they get restarted here on the outside of Trent?
Pat Harvey did seem to have a little bit of extra pace coming up to that caution flag. I was monitoring that 67 machine. He's been very quick here so far tonight, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can bring to this restart. I would definitely expect Abner Acosta to be a big player if he does get a good restart here. He should likely be able to get to that rear bumper of Trent Dinkle, possibly have an opportunity to dive underneath him going into turn number 1 and really create quite the battle there. But, you know, Maverick Davis, of course, you mentioned him and the mistake that happened there. Obviously, can still rebound from it. Currently scored in 13th. But with that spin and not coming down pit road here, it's also going to have a big impact on the tires. It's going to heat them up relatively quickly, put a little bit of extra wear on it, which is something that's going to come into play anyways here at Martinsville. It's just amplified when you go for a spin like that. So we'll keep an eye, see if potentially that 15 car is one of the first to come down pit road when the opportunity presents itself here. But a couple drivers that have moved up through the field with relative ease so far. Stan Carnathan in the 82, currently up 12 spots, and Adam Brockway had some issues prior to the race. I don't think he was able to put a qualifying lap in, but he is currently scored in position number 14. So another driver to watch there behind the wheel of that 42.
Pace car down into pit road. Dinkle will lead the way. Lap 27 We'll go back to green flag racing here at Martinsville. 2 early cautions. Dinkel on the acceleration early through the restart zone. We'll take a 3-car length advantage into 1. Pat Harvey just barely leads in front of Abner Acosta. They're single file in the first 3. A move by Haag is trying to be made on O'Brien for 4th.
Wow, I just saw Dan Willis absolutely send it into the corner a little bit further back in the 127. Everything is A-OK, but the battle, like you mentioned, between Eric Haag and James O'Brien going to be side by side for position number 4. O'Brien up top, Haag on the inside, which is the lane that he used a little bit earlier to work his way up into the 6th position. We'll see if he's able to get it done here and move himself into position number 4. Still diving rather deep into the inside here of O'Brien. O'Brien able to take advantage of those straight shot exits off the corner and getting that little bit of an advantage here. But one thing again, Haag's got to watch out for is flipping the curbing. We saw that already with Davis. Not going to happen here for Haag, as I thought he was going to clear, and that O'Brien machine just battles right back. Now they're going to clear out. Haag to 4th, O'Brien to 5th.
Really good battling here between those 2 drivers. It's a smaller field than you'd want to see at a short track like Martinsville, but
we're spinning.
Yeah, there's a spin. That's unfortunate. As,
Duncan Starostka going to go around in the 22 car. Unfortunate for him. We'll take a look here momentarily on the replay, see what happened. I'm wondering if those curbings came into play once again. I don't believe they do, but we'll take a look here in just a second.
We're hearing reports that he just got loose. Maybe in a similar vein to what we saw from Maverick Davis. Here is the replay. Yep, didn't clip that curb, but just, you know, it's hard, right? The whole word on the street of what people want in real-world NASCAR Cup Series racing is more horsepower, but you're still trying to that. Right, you're still trying to handle, even especially in the sim, right, where you don't have 100% feeling of being in the car. You don't exactly know when the car is going to slip on you, and sometimes it's hard to catch it in a slide no matter what. If you're not in the actual race car and actually racing it in real world time, real world action, it's hard to know when you're gonna lose it from out underneath you. That's happened twice in this race. I don't think it's a surprise that we'll start to see the time limit really become a factor potentially here as this race continues to start and stop frequently.
We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. And that's a great point that you make, Dylan. You don't necessarily have the full sensations that you would have behind the wheel of a real race car. You can hear it a little bit with the tires and kind of hear it as well with the RPMs when it's starting to step out on you. But I guess the closest you can really get is with a butt kicker, one of the great partners we have here at the Precision Racing League that put a little bit more sensation into the seat of your pants as you're working your way around this Martinsville Speedway.
Well, you can't really get seat of your pants excitement when you're pacing for most of the race so far.
That's definitely a fact too.
But I very much agree with what you were saying there. This race, though, we've seen 2 self-spins. We've seen an incident earlier on lap 1, multi-cars. And goodness me, it's definitely had a slow pace to it. Let's talk pit strategy real quick. You're going to worry more about the tires as these yellows come out more infrequently than you'd think, right? You're starting, you're stopping, the tires aren't utilizing or aren't as heated up on a long run because you're not going on long runs whatsoever. So you're going to have more longevity from the Goodyear rubber. Nonetheless, though, as we see 98-degree track temperature, it's fairly hot there on the track. As the race would carry on in green flag conditions, we would start to see tire wear become more of a problem as the pace car lights are off down the backstretch. Regardless, if they are able to make it, we could probably see, it's definitely going to be a one-stopper if we go green from here, but do we go green from here? I say probably not. They're going to have to worry about tire life and longevity. Dinkle on the inside, going to lead the field back to green, and we're back underway, racing again. And big checkup going on in the background. They're still fine for now, but the accordion effect was strong. Abner Acosta, Pat Harvey side by side for second. Acosta trying to send it down the inside. Harvey going to maintain momentum on the outside, but quickly Acosta just barely put his nose out in front. Still side by side, James O'Brien watching in the wings.
Acosta on the inside, Harvey up top, and the Magic 8 Ball definitely says no when it comes to going green all the way here. That's Martinsville Racing, but this battle does continue here. Pat Harvey going to slide up the racetrack, lose a position, going to lose
into the wall
here. Most likely, yeah, make some contact with the wall there. James O'Brien going to get a nose underneath. Now Harvey able to launch off the corner a little bit better and start to pull away just a little bit here from James O'Brien, but the battle definitely not over yet for that third spot. As
still, wait,
the outside, yeah, unfortunately for Harvey, just struggling right now. Mark Kalin with an issue in the 62. He's going to go around and bring out yet another caution here. And I believe Maverick Davis might have been involved in that one.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. I said Maverick would ruffle a few feathers. I didn't expect that to start right off the jump. You've seen something in a replay earlier than we will all see it. Good, bad.
Yeah, somebody slid up the racetrack. I'm trying to get a number on that one. Looks like the 27 machine slides up the racetrack, and they're just, the 127 of, actually it's Dan Willis, gets up into the outside wall. Davis comes down to try to avoid it, gets down into the 62 of Kalin. Kalin gets ricocheted into the inside wall. His bumper ends up falling off, and he does have some required damage. So not a good start to this one for Mark Kalin or Maverick Davis for that matter.
Oh boy.
And Pat Harvey to pit road as well. Dylan, you noted a couple times there that he did get into the outside wall, was struggling with the stability of that race car as well. So the 67 coming down for some repairs. As we'll take a look at the replay here. Watch for that Dan Willis machine to be up against the outside wall on the exit of the corner. Yeah, right here, Maverick Davis does come down. Tail slaps into the Mark Kalin machine, sends him into the inside wall. That was a pretty hefty impact there.
So what that tells me is Maverick is still not necessarily that comfortable coming out of turn 4 because he got loose there. You know, it was a later stage of getting on the throttle that he got loose, but you want to keep that car as straight as possible when applying the throttle, especially on corner exit. When you come down like that, bad stuff tends to happen, especially when there's another car there. Look at Mark Kalin and the newest member of the RaceSpotTV family. Unfortunately, that might be a day
family
done.
And the pit road.
Was he the newest, or were you the newest?
I don't know. I think he's newer. By like
it was
10 minutes.
Okay, but Mark did make guest appearances.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll share that status then, but
you need the rookie stripes nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. Just a note though, for Mark Kalin, he's actually back out on the racetrack, was able to clear that meatball flag, so he's been able to work his way back out there. We'll see if he's able to recover at all. With an impact like that, I would expect it probably to have just been a little bit of suspension or wheel damage, Dylan, which is typically a rather quick fix, but his steering may be a little bit skewed for the rest of this one.
Hey, at the end of the day, at a short track, especially one like Martinsville, aero grip really isn't a thing. It's all about mechanical grip, and if that car can still turn to the left and go down a straightaway without... Yeah, it's all that matters. All that matters. Pace car lights are all 4 cautions in this race. The iRacing pace car driver has been busy tonight. That is for sure. All right, Robert, we're about to see 2 teammates going side by side here for the first time since their incident at Circuit of the Americas. And James O'Brien is in third. It's right now a 1-2-3 for private label Team Hype. Dinkel will lead the way. Quickly, Abner again caught napping. That is a huge jump for Trent Dinkel. Abner Acosta just not able to do anything about that. James O'Brien lets him down in front of him. Still 1-2-3. They fight in the back. A bit of a slide by Jones, and he's going to try and fight with Park Hilliard, who diamonds the corner. Comes down a little bit lower than he wanted. Car up into the wall. Multiple into the wall outside of turn 4. It's just chaos all over.
Absolute chaos all over the place here, as we do see a battle for the 5th position on the racetrack. Eric Haig, Park Hilliard side by side. It's Haig up top, Hilliard on the bottom. Just behind them as well, Maverick Davis and John Jones battling is. Oh, we got one going for a big slide there. That was Dan Willis. Numerous others involved in that one. Caution out once again here at Martinsville, lap 48. And I believe this is caution number 4.
This is actually caution number 5 now.
Okay.
Because we've had Maverick had 2 incidents. We had that lap 1 incident. We had another incident at a turn 4. Maybe this is 4. I think it's 5, but maybe it's 4.
4.5.
5.
There we go.
We've just gotten
Confirmation is in.
Yeah. All right, 5. I should have trusted my gut there. I believe that's 20 laps of pacing at this point. Let's take a look at the replay here, and we'll see exactly what happened. All the smoke and the cars scattered in the background. Loose again on the exit of 4. That's a huge hit for the 42.
Major hit there for Adam Brockway, like you said. Looks like Dan Willis gets involved rather heavily. There was a big overcorrect after a little bit of looseness there, Dylan, that did lead to just 3 other cars getting collected in that one. Dan Willis, Adam Brockway, Stan Carnathan, and Nicholas Gowan all involved in incident number 5 of the day. You noted a lot of drivers were getting up into the wall on that latest restart, so that definitely going to be something to come into play throughout as Mark Kalin gets a wave around.
Look at that. Kalin will, I think, get back onto the lead lap with that move. Yes, he will. Get a look at his onboard display. Not much on the walls, but he is a fan of Ryan Blaney and Team Penske. He's got some Star Wars Lego sets in the background. You know, we're used to seeing Mark with a different setup, a much more, need I say glamorous setup in the background. Neon or RGB lights all around. It's wonderful. I'm a bit disappointed, but that's okay.
Absolutely. This could be something temporary too. He's giving us big cheers right there.
I hope that's coffee.
It's cold water.
He's definitely listening to the broadcast, is he not?
Absolutely.
He knew it. Oh, man. But take a look at the time. We're almost a half hour into this race, 33% of the way into the time constraints that we have. That does not match up with where we are in lap count.
Something tells me we're racing the clock here, Dylan.
And speaking about clocks and grandfather clocks, there's one in the background right there of Luke Christian's on board. Currently in P24, 14 laps down, but out on track. So unfortunate. He was starting in the top 5, got involved in a mess that was not of his own doing right off the jump. But at least he's in the shot.
He must drive with an incredibly dark screen. There's hardly any reflection on his face at all here, Dylan. And our producer Mike suggesting that might not be a grandfather clock, might just be a door with a wreath on it. So let's see if we can get some confirmation on what's in the background there. But let's go green flag racing once again.
It's a replay of the last restart. Will Abner get a better jump? Yes, he does, but Dinkel still holds a 2-car length advantage into turn 1. Green flag back out into the air. Abner Acosta should clear James O'Brien, his teammate, heading into 3, and O'Brien will just slot in line. Hudson, Eric Haig the two others in the top 5. Some moves trying to be made on the outside, though.
Yeah, Maverick Davis taking a look to the outside of Eric Hawk. That's your battle for position number 5 on the racetrack. Davis going to fall back into that 6th spot, not able to make the move on the outside of Eric Hawk. Now he's going to jump back out there again, and we're going to jump back under caution. It's another big one here.
Oh, this is a huge mess. Huge mess. 6th caution of the day, and we're only now on lap 56. Trent Dinkle, by the way, just set the fastest lap on that one just before going under the yellow flag conditions. We'll get a replay here, but there's a lot of cars involved. Great car, David Stevison, Waldo Walden, Mark Kalin, and Adam Brockway in that collision. Might be more as well.
Yeah, that was definitely a large collision out there. We'll see if we can get a look at it momentarily, but it was most definitely a track blocker once again here. Unfortunately, Martinsville does invite incidents like this. Let's take a look now at the replay.
Oh, no.
Wow, that's a mirror image of what happened earlier.
I believe.
Just an overcorrect to the outside and collecting a whole bunch of other cars.
And it was Dan Willis the last time as well who got loose off of 4, if I'm remembering correctly.
That is correct, yeah.
So this time it's a bit bigger of an incident. It still collects multiple cars, but in an even bigger way. We're getting a look at the incident count already. There are 5 drivers in double digits, with Kalin leading the way, 14 on the incident count, 10 for Duncan Staroska, Adam Brockway, as well as Stevison and Carnathan.
And what's concerning about that, Dylan, is 24 incident points is the end-tiered A. That is a disqualification. So we have numerous drivers within reach of hitting that point, and we are still quite early in the event, only a third of the way through the time limit, and well into the lap limit here today.
Yeah, we're not making it to 225 laps. We get a...
Tonight's race is a 90-minute dash here at Martinsville, folks.
Is it a dash, or does it feel more like a marathon?
Maybe a crash, but...
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. You're going to need some maximum pain relief after watching some of those wrecks tonight.
What a segue into the sign sponsorship on the racetrack. Great job right there, Dylan. I think you do this for a living, my friend.
You know, I partially do, and I partially don't. Used to do broadcasting for a full time, and now I work in PR, marketing, whatever.
See, so you know all about
partnerships.
sponsorships.
I do. It's bad when I'm looking at a race and thinking to myself, well, they're probably getting a better deal on their, you know, on a sponsorship, a partnership, on their activation for one specific race based on how much the cameras are showing them around other drivers, other cars. It's bad when that's like my first inclination, instead of, wow, this race is kind of boring, or wow, this race is really good. Today's race might not have been the latter. Nonetheless, Trent Dinkle is going to take us back to green flag racing. You heard me say that a few times tonight already. Abner Acosta alongside. Take 3 on this front 3 setup. Dinkle away. Acosta, another decent restart from Abner. James O'Brien down the inside. He's going to try and work on his private label Team Hype teammate. Have you heard this before? Ooh, I was going to say gets in line, and the 3 did not happen. Abner Acosta left the door stay open just momentarily, but gets the move done coming after 1 lap on the restart. Maverick Davis trying to make some moves on the outside. There's some grip there, Robert.
Absolutely, a little bit of grip there, and right as we start talking about grip, we lose it as Jeff Chandler goes around to put us under caution once again. Looks like a solo incident for the driver of the number 31, but caution out nonetheless here. We got to touch on Maverick Davis here. Dylan, you talked about it. He has been absolutely pushing it, trying to get to the outside. If we take a look at the replay, looks like he might have just got in. Oh, he had some help.
Is that the...
Was that Dan Willis again?
That was Dan Willis again.
Hat trick.
Yikes.
Ooh.
I've heard of 3 strikes, you're out. 3 outs, the inning's over. That's bad.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. And I mean, for Jeff Chandler, he was just an innocent bystander right there. So we do ride on board now with Dan Willis. Yeah, that was just a very deep move into the corner, and I don't think he was ever going to make that, Dylan.
Well, he was in the corner. He saw a little bit of light, but there wasn't enough space for a car width to go down the inside there. Maybe if it's the last lap of the race and you're going for the win, you make that kind of move, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then hopefully you're holding a checkered flag by the end of it. But nonetheless, that's 3 straight cautions that have been at the hands of the 127. That's not a good look for him, unfortunately, as we have 57 minutes to go in this race. Oh man, cautions breed cautions. We haven't had any green flag. Can we breed some green flag laps?
That would definitely be nice to see if we can get some green flag racing in. The intensity through the field, especially outside of the top 5 or so, has just been through the roof. All these drivers just wanting to get the positions right away. But the thing is, if you get the green flag racing, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to get out there, make a pass, strategize, plan. It's going to be a lot more fun if you get green flag racing rather than pacing here. And these drivers up at the front, especially drivers other than Trent Dinkle, are getting frustrated at this point. I'm sure of it, with the lack of opportunity to get up there and battle with him. They've only had maybe a lap, if that, at most points throughout this race today to get up there and battle with the race leader. So just unfortunately, the opportunity is being taken away from these drivers. As we do take a look at the 91 of Ryan Skolny, he was involved in the incident early in the race. I believe that was back on lap number 1. He took a hard impact with the wall, but he's been able to continue to charge forward and is currently scored in position number 7. So great rebounds so far, especially since we haven't had much opportunity to make passes.
Quiet night for Skolny, but he is making up positions very nicely in that 91 machine. Look at Chris Hudson here.
He's having a good lap.
Giving a big old smile with that triple screen setup. It looks like he's got those monitors correctly blending in with each other to hide where the monitors actually are meeting. Restart about to happen here. Hudson having to deal with Abner Acosta blinking in front of him. That is quite scary. Dinkle will lead the way with 55 minutes to go here at Martinsville. Green flag back out in the air. O'Brien again tries to go down the inside of Abner Acosta, but on the outside, a potential move made by Chris Hudson to keep position number 4 over Eric Haag. Haag is still there though, so Hudson can't let it go down to the inside just yet. He blends up a little bit, tight center off. That still keeps the door open just ever so slightly for Haag to make a move in the 89.
Yeah, Eric Haag gets back down to the inside of Chris Hudson. Hudson had some help on the restart. Maverick Davis was bump drafting him down the straightaways, channeling his inner Daytona here as Hudson does slide up the racetrack a little bit. He's going to go around with help from Davis. Caution is out once again.
Smiles are not going to be on his face as Dinkle once again sets the fastest lap as we get a yellow flag. 7 cautions. Oh, man, this is no fun. Nope, no smile. Can we have a before and after?
We'll pull back up his in-car and see when the smile goes away. But as Nick was pointing out to us on the side here, it was clear Chris Hudson got loose and unfortunately got hit from behind by Maverick Davis. It was just a matter of the drivers behind not really having anywhere to go. We'll take a look at the replay here, and you should see just that. You can see the rear end already starting to step out there on Hudson. Davis gets in the back of him, helps finish off that spin, but no other contact for the Chris Hudson machine, so he should be able to continue on here, likely to take it to pit road, get a new set of tires, and I do believe he is down there now.
So I think I can jump into the mindset that we just saw right there from that move from Chris. Chris, in the previous lap, said to himself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on the throttle a little bit too early, and he got tight, right? He moved center off up to the wall, had to take his foot off the throttle just a little bit, and he didn't get the right drive off that he wanted. Well, this time, and I'd love to ride on board just to get an exact look at what he saw. We see Trent Dinkel's perspective right here under pacing. I almost feel, I want to say that what we saw from Chris was he did the same thing, but he tried to counteract that with more throttle on the exit to try and get the car to turn a little bit to the left, but it was too tight and too much throttle, and just didn't work out the way he wanted it to.
I think you're spot on with that, Dylan. Unfortunately for Chris Hudson, he's now going to have to come from the rear of the field. Likely won't make that same mistake twice at this point as we get an update on the incident count. David Stevison does lead the way in that one with 16 so far, so he's just 8 points away from that unfortunate disqualification. Mark Kalin sits at 14, and a couple drivers halfway to that point now. Chris Hudson, Walden, and others, as we're going to get set to go green here.
All right, so Chris Hudson, let's look from his perspective. I believe this is the lap that the incident happens. He enters the corner a little bit too hot. He tries to get on the throttle in the marbles, got tight. That's why he tried to apply the throttle where he did. And obviously, you go from being a little bit too tight, all of a sudden, you're loose. It can quickly snap from underneath you. Appreciate that from our producer and Mike Yao. Thank you, Mike. It's not just myself and Robert who make these broadcasts happen in the booth.
Absolutely.
We've got Robert, myself, Nick Hunter from the PRL side, the Oval organizer, and Mike Yao, who does production for RaceSpotTV, a great group at RaceSpot and the Precision Racing League and all of the partners who make it happen for us. 8 cautions in just over 70 laps of action. Can we get some green flag momentum? We'll see. 50 minutes and change remaining in this race. Green flag in the air. Trent Dinkel again leading the way, and a really solid jump in forward from Eric Haag on the outside. He's going to try and get to the back quarter, the rear quarter panel, the right rear, excuse me. Oh, he got loose there on Nicholas Gowan. Haag had such a good jump, and it didn't work. Skolny in the 127. Wow, naughty.
He got moved up the racetrack, the Ryan Skolny machine, from Dan Willis.
And he's going to do the exact same here.
He's looking to have a little bit of payback right there. That's exactly what that was. Skolny getting to the left rear of Dan Willis. They're able to continue on. Skolny's just sending it now, trying to get back up there. He's going to likely force his way up. We get a nice onboard shot and a yellow flag, courtesy of Maverick Davis.
I wish you could see my frustration. I'm sure that we could look at Trent Dinkel's onboard and just
See
whatever. Yeah, see the same thing as Davis. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me here?
Fred, the pace car driver, absolutely earning his paycheck today, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading the most laps in this race by far at Martinsville. So as we work to get that replay of Maverick Davis's incident up, I will say the 127 of Dan Willis, he's caused 3 cautions. He's looking to cause more. We'll talk about that after we see this, Robert.
Yeah, I just took a look at it here, and you're going to see it on your screen momentarily. Davis goes in a little bit too hot, nearly gets into the back of the David Stevison machine, checks up to try not to get into the back of that car, and ends up going around himself. So Maverick Davis going to be the cause of the latest caution here, and that one comes on lap 77 as Davis was trying to avoid hitting the 777. Just a random fact there.
7s.
All the 7s, and they don't seem lucky so far.
Not at all. I will tell you, the line for hot dogs would be massive if this was happening.
Oh, absolutely. Martinsville would probably be running out at this point.
100%. Let's talk more about Ryan Skolny, who fell back a position since a couple cautions ago, the last time we were talking about him. Running that 91 machine, the Camaro ZL1, and that is a very, very similar looking font and number, because that is Project 91 from Trackhouse Racing. That's the exact number and font that is used, or was used, at the Chicago Street Course last year, where Shane Van Gisbergen won his first NASCAR Cup Series race. I do a little bit in his first ever start. Races in the 97 in the Xfinity Series for Colleague Racing this year. Shane is performing quite above expectations, I'd say. I think everyone would agree with that, and he's very excited to be in NASCAR, having a grand old time, and Skalny's doing the same thing right here.
Yeah, we had a discussion off camera before we got started here today about Shane Van Gisbergen and the fact that he's really down to earth and really just appreciative of the opportunity to be involved in NASCAR. And, you know, him finishing 11th yesterday at Martinsville far exceeded my expectations. I thought, if anything, that was going to be a racetrack to really give him trouble. But he had himself a great day, finished in 11th, and Ryan Skalny's having himself a rather nice day. Of course, he did lose a couple spots, like you said. That was with some help from Dan Willis, but let's see what happens here as the pace car's off. Let's get ready to go green.
9 cautions in this race, and we're not even halfway through the allotted time. 45 laps spent under yellow. Green flag back in the air. Trent got going a little bit later than he usually has. That let Abner Acosta stay a bit closer. He slides up through the concrete, but James O'Brien is not going to have the run he wants. He has to come up to protect, as Nick Gowan is right there. Hilliard and Hag going side by side, both of them diamonding just a little bit. That's going to help Hag get the run coming out of 4.
Yeah, Eric Hag able to clear himself into that 6th spot. The first side-by-side that we have is between Ryan Skalny and John Jones, position 9 and 10 on the racetrack. It's Skalny up top, the 90 of Jones down on the inside. As we take a look at it here, looks like Skalny going to get a little bit loose. Now falls back into the clutches of Brandon Walter. Of course, Walter had to start at the tail of the field, serving an outstanding penalty from last season, but this does single file out. Looks like we're single file through the opening 10, so maybe, Dylan, just maybe, this is an opportunity that we can get a bit of a run in.
All right, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. There is still cars on track, and now we've got some side-by-side racing going into 1. Maverick Davis, he's had an up-and-down day, and he's trying to make some moves, work on the inside, was given some space there. The 42 went well the track and gave him the space. Davis continuing to work on the outside. He has used that outside to make multitudes of moves in this race, but it doesn't always help. You get tight, you try and apply throttle. You see right there, it's exactly what was happening on the outside. There's that Mark Kaelin that is somehow fighting in the top 15 with that race car.
It's definitely impressive to see Mark Kaelin still out there battling. We have a battle side by side just behind this. It is the 43 of Hudson, and that is the 42 of Brockway. It looks like Brockway going to be able to clear into that 16th spot as we ride on board here with Chris Hudson. You can see just how close he is getting to the rear end of that Maratnus. The number 42 of Adam Brockway is just ahead of this. Mark Kaelin going to take a look to the inside of Jake Mackey. That's Mackey in the 13, falling back on the high side as Brockway, and of course as well the Chris Hudson machine look like they're going to work their way down to the inside. But up front, Trent Dinkel, Abner Acosta have absolutely pulled away from James O'Brien, Eric Hag, and the rest of that top 10.
And I think part of this is because Trent knows that if we don't have that many long green flag stretches in this race, Abner is going to try and make the move as quickly as he possibly can on these restarts. And the tires are not up to temperature, so you can push a little bit harder and not lose as much rubber as you would think. There's not many marbles on the track to begin with so far, but it is still a dirty racetrack. Car into the wall. That was Eric High, but it was only a minor rush. James O'Brien trying to hold spot right there, hold position as we're on lap 92 of 225. Second, Dinkel and Acosta. Adam Brockway in 14th position. He's had his fair share of issues in this race, but Mark Palin and he go side by side.
Advantage currently to the 42 of Brockway on the inside. Keelan up top of that 62, continuing to be side by side here as they work their way through turns 1 and 2, headed down the back straightaway and towards turn number 3. Still no clear advantage between these two, and another side-by-side battle just a little bit ahead of them here. It is Brandon Walter and Maverick Davis. Davis on the inside, gonna clear by the Brandon Walter machine as we take a look at Dan Willis, who's under fire from Pat Harvey and chasing down the 2-car of Park Hilliard. The 91 of Ryan Smalley also joining this pack, so a little bit of a 4-car pack towards the tail of that top 10. That's 6, 7, 8, and 9, all under a blanket here at the paperclip. And knock on wood, we've done a couple of green flag laps here. We'll see how this one escalates and continues on, as Harvey gonna fall back a little bit to Skalny. Hilliard and Willis gonna start to pull away and close in on the Nicholas Gowan machine, who's not too far up the road from them here.
Dan Willis currently running in 7th, just in front of Pat Harvey. Has had quite the adventurous night, has caused 3 cautions. Yeah, that's certainly an understatement. Has caused 3 cautions and almost caused a 4th. I'm very excited and interested as he got way loose right there. Almost went into the left rear of Pat Harvey, still wiggling. I was gonna say, when Maverick Davis catches up to Dan Willis, you know fireworks are going to fly. Sparks are going to fly. Fireworks are going to be set off. And right now, they're running 90-10.
Caution. Duncan Starostka going to go around on the front straightaway here, Dylan. So yet another yellow flag displayed. It's too good to be true.
I'm having a blast.
Absolutely. What a great day here at Martinsville. Looks like just a solo spin for Starostka. Just a little glance at it. We'll take a look here on the replay machine, watching that 22, the purple machine of Duncan Starostka. Already some damage on board that car. Just going to step out and step into the inside wall. And by the way, it does look like just about everybody coming down pit road. A couple of exceptions include Maverick Davis, Adam Brockway, Chris Hudson, and David Stevison, but everyone else coming down pit road for service.
So it is an interesting move here to either stay out or go down into pit road. I would agree with the reasoning because of how many drivers did go down the pit road. You might as well go into the pits. You're still using fuel under caution, not as much, but you still are using fuel nonetheless. Dinkle, Acosta, Harvey, O'Brien, hey, your 5 top runners coming out of the pits right there. You're still using fuel, not as much. And if it goes green from this point on, heck, even if it goes yellow, you might still run it out of fuel. So you had to come down once. They came down once. They will not have to come down the pits for fuel-related purposes again. Obviously, tire life might be a thing, but no one's going to try and go halfway because we're going to go with time. So the one question that I have is, does a driver like Brockway, Hudson, or Maverick Davis, or David Stevison? Stevison is the real question here because he's on a 101-lap stint. He's going to have to come down into the pits at some point, so I don't know what that move was on his thinking. Hudson, 29-lap stint, Brockway, 51, Davis, 21. If I'm looking at Hudson or Davis, they're right back into this now, 100%. However, you will have Dinkle and Acosta trying to fly here. If you're David Stevison, watch out.
That's exactly it. You got to watch out if you're Stevison. Pat Harvey took 2 tires here on this latest stop as well, so a little bit off of the regular strategy of the rest of the field, but going to be interesting to see how the likes of Adam Brockway and David Stevison do get off on this restart here. Of course, Brockway last pit on lap number 49, so 50 laps prior to the driver's going to be starting behind him, and Stevison, the second car on the outside on extremely old tires as well. So if you're the likes of Abner Acosta and James O'Brien that are going to be starting behind those cars on the older tires, it's going to be quite sketchy right here. And watch for wheel spin, absolutely, from either the outside of the front row or the outside of the second row to be very prevalent here on this restart as the pace car gets set to go off once again.
Outside is going to be majorly checked up here, so look at Abner Acosta and James O'Brien to really be aggressive on this restart. Dinkle might shove some drivers out of the way. Maverick Davis, just like he did on the green, will lead the way here with Brockway Hudson. 1, 2, 3. Dinkle, the fresh tires, immediately gets onto the back bumper of that Toyota just in front of him. Will he try and take it 3 wide? No, he'll just push into the corner, let off just a little bit. He's got the fresher tires. He doesn't have to push the issue too much here, but he does have to pick a lane and see which way is fastest. Can't really go 3 wide here.
Yeah, I just want to quickly touch on that restart. The 777 of David Stevison restarted 4th, all the way back to 12th right now. Abner Acosta lost a handful of spots as well. Currently scored in position number 8, but we are side by side. Chris Hudson and Trent Dinkle. Dinkle looked like he was able to clear here. Still has a little bit of an advantage up on the high side, but he is stuck behind that slower 42 of Brockway. Well, I say slower, but Brockway's done a nice job holding his own on the restart so far. But Dinkle going to give him
there.
Oh,
Green
no.
flag still stays out.
Park Hilliard, he's going to go for a little bit of a slide, able to gather it back up. He's going to fall outside of the top 10 here, Dylan, but we continue to be side by side, Brockway and Hudson, as they work their way through turn 1 and 2.
So at least from live pictures, it didn't look like Abner did anything wrong there. Maybe a bit of a late lunge, but not really. I thought he was side by side, at least got the nose down next to the quarter panel. So to me, that might just be as a caution comes out again. Caution number 11. Park Hilliard, who was the one, we'll get the replay here of what happened between Park and Abner. Park actually wrecked or went around. Going into 3, yeah. Park is... Abner wasn't there yet, but Park did leave the door open just a tad. I'd look at that more like a racing incident of some sort. John Jones, we're hearing, is not happy about something. Because Hilliard and John Jones made contact, and that's what brought out the caution. But
correct, yeah.
In that replay, Abner and Park were going at it right there.
As we'll likely get a look at it here in a few seconds, Dylan, John Jones got into the left rear of Park Hilliard. Looked like a little bit of a late lunge there to the inside. Ended up sending the 2-car around, and that is, of course, what just brought out the latest caution here on lap 110. We are approaching, though, the halfway point in the event here today, so getting close. Time-wise, a little bit further along. 55 minutes down so far.
Yeah, we're not going to make it on a lap-based counter.
Even if we can make it.
Yeah, let's see how far they can make it. Listen, there's going to be another caution, right? We're on 11 now.
Only one?
11 cautions, lap 111. I mean, at least one. I'm gonna say there's at least one more. I don't even think if we went to green flag racing right now, we could even finish it on lap-based stuff. So it's all time at this point. All time.
Well, let's hope it's a good time anyways in this closing 35 minutes or so that do remain. Top 5 as they run: Maverick Davis, Trent Dinkle, Chris Hudson, Pat Harvey, and Eric Hagg just behind them. Abner Acosta has been able to work his way back up to 6th after issues a little bit earlier on, as we're going to watch that incident here with Park Hilliard. There's the 90. John Jones getting into the left rear, sends him up the racetrack, goes around and brings out the caution here on lap 110. Those remaining cars in the top 10, Dan Willis in 7th, Nick Gowan in 8th, James O'Brien 9th, and Brandon Walter rounding out the top 10.
So I'm intrigued by the prospect of this restart with Davis and Dinkle side by side once again for the first time since the start of this race. We know Maverick has tires that are 20 plus laps more worn than Trent, so Trent's going to have the advantage on the outside there. But Maverick's going to be aggressive, as is Trent. Trent's going to do everything he can to get that position now, but he should also have in the back of his mind that if Maverick does pull away into corner number 1 here, the tires are going to fall off, and Trent will still be able to make the move at some point. The question is, how many times are they going to have to come back together and restart the race? Restart number 11, and Trent spun the tires on it. Maverick Davis gets going, and right alongside him comes Chris Hudson on the inside line. Dinkel into third, but he tries a swap over on Hudson into 3.
That was a massive stack up, caused a domino effect all the way through the field here as Trent Dinkel is able to clear ahead of Chris Hudson. We are side by side a little bit further back. It's Pat Harvey and Dan Willis. Willis on the inside, Harvey up top. We're out on board here with Eric Hogg, currently scored in position number 4, looking ahead to Chris Hudson there, but here's that battle. Willis and Harvey. Is Willis going to slide up, have a little bit of door-to-door contact with Harvey, gets him a bit sideways. Here comes Abner Acosta taking a look down to the inside. It's Pat Harvey. He's got safety goggles. He's ready to go.
Trent Dinkel just set the fastest lap of the race. He's going for it, but Pat Harvey and Abner Acosta, bit of contact maybe from Acosta to Harvey. No harm, no foul, as cars are still getting quite tight coming out of turn 4. Wall comes quicker than they expect. Acosta, Harvey, great battle right here. It's allowing Dan Willis to scoot away just a tad with 5th, but I have a feeling that once Harvey and Acosta go single file here, whichever of those two come out in front, it's going to mean bad news for Dan Willis, as Dinkel, by the way, has made the move easily on Maverick Davis for P1, and he's over a second in front.
He was able to make quick work of the Maverick Davis machine, like you mentioned, and really just start to pull away from him as that side-by-side battle does continue. Great shot out of the passenger side of the Abner Acosta machine, looking up at the Pat Harvey car as Harvey looks like he's going to lose a little bit of ground here to Abner Acosta. And as I say that, takes a deep dive into the corner, gets to the right rear of Dan Willis, now slides back just a little bit as we have side-by-side a little bit further up. It's Chris Hudson and the Eric Hogg machine. Hogg on the inside, Hudson up top. Here comes Willis taking a look to the inside of Hudson, not able to get there, going to single file out. Jumps down ahead of Abner Acosta here. That opens the door to Harvey. Harvey gets hit in the door. He's going to slide way up the racetrack, loses a bunch of spots, and actually gets into the outside wall. That is absolutely unfortunate there for Pat Harvey. Now under pressure from Nick Gowan, as Gowan holding that 10th spot wants to move up even further, but you mentioned it, Acosta to the inside of Willis. Willis, not an easy time anymore. Here comes Abner.
Oh, Pat Harvey loose on the exit of 4. Caution maybe coming out. No one's turned completely yet. Big stack up.
Wow.
And unfortunate, but you saw it happening in the background. Harvey just got loose on the exit of 4 and couldn't get it quite collected. Leads to a caution. I mean, these guys have not really put that much heat into the tires, right, to figure out what happens when they do heat up on the exit of corners, and it gets a little bit slick and slidey. Harvey went into the marbles off the concrete, tried to apply the same amount of throttle pressure, does not work. Jones went into the outside wall, more cars stacked up behind, some went to the inside wall. Oh man, caution 12, and they're still wrecking at the end here, way after the caution had already come out. Harvey, Jones, Skolny, Walter, Mackey, Walden, Carr, and Stevison all in there, as John Jones gets a meatball flag. Required repairs being told to him by the iRacing officials, with under 29 minutes of racing or pacing to go here. Pick your poison.
Definitely one or the other. Eh? We can't have both, but looks like the main cars involved in this one, of course, we saw Pat Harvey. Jake Mackey got a good piece of that, Waldo Walden as well, but it's also indicating that Ryan Skolny and Brandon Walter also getting collected. We saw John Jones involved. Of course, he does have a meatball flag, having to serve that. And we must be getting close now to a couple of drivers being about to top out on those incidents, Dylan. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We're taking a look here at Jeff Chandler. He's having himself a good day. One of the biggest movers so far, up 13 spots himself, and the Adam Brockway machine both up 13 spots respectively. And I do want to point out, though, another driver had a great day so far. Brandon Walter, the driver of the number 99 machine, of course, did start dead last here tonight and is currently scored in position number 11. So great run so far. And just as I mentioned, a couple drivers getting really close to that incident limit. Waldo Walden and David Stevison both 4 away from that point now. We'll see if they're able to avoid it. It's going to be tough. 27 minutes to go. A lot of action still to come here, but it's all Trent Dinkel right now.
The on-track temperature has gone down 4 degrees as this race has progressed throughout the hour and a half total allotted time that we're getting here. Hour 3 minutes into it, 27 minutes to go. That gives you around 80-ish laps, 86 laps under green flag conditions, and 30 at the rate that we've been going at.
Let's hope it's more than 30, but either way, we're not going to make the scheduled 225, but we're going to have a good finish nonetheless. I have some faith here. We'll see what we can do. We had some great battles under that last sequence. Of course, we saw Eric Hegg and Chris Hudson together. Abner Acosta was setting up a nice battle with Dan Willis. I do believe he was able to get the spot right before the caution came out. So his sights are going to be set on quickly finding a way around Eric Hogg and Chris Hudson to get back up onto the podium here and challenge the Trent Dinkel and Maverick Davis machines. But Fred, the pace car driver, has hit pit road. Let's get back underway here, Dylan.
All right, let's get going again. 26 minutes to go. They're going to be more aggressive now. They know that the amount of restarts is limited with the time limit. Trent Dinkel gets off to a 1 car length advantage. Davis fires off in the outside pretty well. But Hogg and Hudson, they're both lagging behind early after turn 2.
Yeah, Hogg and Hudson, we saw them side by side a little bit earlier. Now Acosta on the inside of Hudson. Hudson slides up the racetrack now under fire here from James O'Brien. O'Brien to the left for a corner of that Chris Hudson car. Wonder if he's smiling at this point. I'm not too sure as he's losing a couple spots on the racetrack. Here comes Dan Willis as well to the inside of Chris Hudson. So that 43 machine starting to fall like a rock. Of course, he last pit on lap 71. It's been quite some time for that Hudson car. Not a lot of wear on the tires as of yet, I wouldn't think, but he is falling like a rock.
Yeah, certainly is falling like a rock. Quick update, Davis and Dinkel. Ooh, look at that. 88 goes down the inside there. Nick Gowan, who has a lot of speed already in this season and has some more speed in this race. 20-lap difference on the tires for Dinkel and Davis. Just something to keep in mind as this race progresses right now under green flag conditions. As we see Pat Harvey trying to make some moves back in 14th place. Caution is out.
The 82 of Stan Carnathan goes around. Carnathan, I'm going to give him all the names here tonight. Looks like he had a little bit of health.
Carmageddon.
We're going to look at that shortly. Absolutely. We're going to look at that one shortly, see what just happened to him. But looks like help potentially from Park Hilliard in that 2-car.
Well, last time we did see Stan with anything having to do with incidents, he was at 16 incident points. If that's a 4X for him, he is just 1 incident away potentially from getting DQ'd, as are many drivers. Last time we checked, we had Walden, Stevison both at 20, Pat Harvey at 18, Hudson, Gowan, Jones, and Carnathan at 16. Take a look at the replay here as we go into turn 1. Things are calm. Hilliard does not want it to be calm. No, there was no contact. It was just Carnathan losing it on corner exit. Single car spin, goes into the inside wall, just barely, and the caution comes out.
Yeah, definitely pretty close there between Park Hilliard and the driver of the number 82, Stan Carnathan. But luckily able to continue on for both of them here. A couple pitters towards the rear, Greg Carr, John T. Jones, both hitting pit road. Looks like Jones has been there for a while, so potentially just from the earlier contact that he had. But another quick rundown here, 23 minutes to go. Trent Dinkle, Maverick Davis, Eric Hagg, Abner Acosta, and James O'Brien the top 5. And then it's Willis, Gowan, Hudson, Chandler, and Scully the top 10. Jeff Chandler, a driver that we haven't really talked too much about here tonight, but having himself a very solid run at the tail end of that top 10.
I mentioned it on the last restart about the aggression levels from the top 2 starting to pick up. We know how aggressive Davis is. We have seen the well-documented rise and fall and rise again of his race so far tonight. He's not going to come in for any tires or fuel or anything like that, but he does have 20 lap older tires than Trent Dinkle. That will hurt him if he can't make a move off the jump. I mean, right now, Trent Dinkle legitimately should win this race if it goes at this pace. We know Dinkle is a master at conserving the tires, but it's not like he's going to have to do it much. If we did have green flag racing from here on out, it's 65, 64 laps maybe of action, probably a little bit more, 68, something like that, that he would need to conserve them for. It hasn't really gotten much wear into the tires as the lights go off on the iRacing pace car. There's no reason except for weird luck of the draw kind of stuff that Davis should not win this race based on the trends of it so far and the place that he is in. But Maverick Davis is ultra aggressive. Aggression versus aggression on this restart with 21 minutes and change remaining at Martinsville Speedway. The paperclip has shown its fair share of mistakes tonight, and that's a mistake from Maverick Davis. Those worn tires don't help him at all. He did not get the traction he needed. Eric Hagg goes in the second. Davis now slots in the third.
Yeah, that was absolutely a terrible restart there for Maverick Davis. Caught sleeping, maybe a little bit of wheel spin as well. Gets the Abner machine into the back of him. Abner Acosta driving that 5 car. Looks like he's going to lose some spots there. Maverick Davis gets a little bit loose as well as somebody just went down.
That was Gowan.
I believe it was Gowan. Yeah, you're right. Nicholas Gowan losing a couple spots out there on the racetrack. Able to gather it back up, though, and hold on to position number 7. We do see a battle just behind him. That is the battle for 8th on the racetrack, actually, between Ryan Scully and Dan Willis. Willis up top, Scully on the inside. Everyone ahead of them has single filed out. And speaking of that, Trent Dinkle, I think he might have just had a little bit of contact with the wall, but he's absolutely pulled away from Eric Hogg.
You watching your screen as Chris Hudson got quite tight coming out of corner number 4, almost hit the wall, lost 2 spots, might lose another. This is a battle going on in the back. There's a wreck in the back, a slide coming out of turn 2. And once again, we're going under yellow flag conditions.
Rosca again here.
Gosh.
Go around. It's unfortunate. A couple of these guys, I'm not sure if he had any help. We'll see very shortly. That is the teammate of Nick Gowan for Gowan Racing, as per the graphic right there. So unfortunately, not a good lap for that group there at Gowan Racing, as Nick himself had a big moment, nearly losing it himself. So Duncan Starostka going to be the one to bring out this latest caution, riding on the inside here. So see on the replay, just going to overstep and go around.
I almost wonder, that looked like a snap overstep. I wonder if he was shifting.
That's a possibility, Dylan. It might be something that would come into play. I would think it would come into play here at Martinsville. With it being such a tight track, you'd want to work your way through the gears to try to be able to rotate through the corner.
Certainly. Oh, no, I'm lying right there.
I think he just got really too deep into the corner and was kind of doomed from the start of it.
A lot of cloud coverage right now, by the way. The track is now at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It was 98 earlier. 67 ambient temp with 8-mile-per-hour winds. So, another thing to think about here. I'm going to go on the bright side of things for Maverick Davis. Maverick is now restarting just behind Trent Dinkle, and I think it's quite easier to restart in third than it is in second. I would say most of the time it's easier because the jump is happening right in front of you. You could try and follow that a little bit more. The other thing is if he's able to actually get a good restart and not spin the tires like he did last time, he might get a little bit aggressive with Trent and try and push him into the corner. There's 18 minutes left. If we get more cautions, scratch that. When we get our next caution, yes, it's going to wind the clock down even more, and that grandfather clock will hit 0 quite soon in this race. We only probably have 4 cautions left in this race. Potentially that could happen. So that's a positive.
And you're definitely right on that. Starting on the inside, it's gotten darker in his room. How is he even seeing at this point? But starting on the inside behind the leader, you're going to have the opportunity to see any sort of motion, any sort of movement out of that car ahead of you, which will indicate that he's getting ready to go. He's set. He's ready. Step on that gas pedal and just go for it. When you're on the outside, in the case of Eric Hogg here, you can't really see as much unless you're looking to the left the whole time, which of course will likely mess up your restart as well. So Maverick Davis in a good spot, probably better than that of Eric Hogg, but last restart, of course, absolutely hardly any motion out of that 15 of Davis. So we'll see if he's able to get a better restart this time. And speaking of restart, it's time for it. Let's get ready to go green once again.
Under 17 minutes to go here, and Trent Dinkel will lead the way. Eric Hogg in second, Davis third, James O'Brien in fourth, and Abner Acosta in fifth. On the straightaway, big jump from Maverick Davis. Trent Dinkel just in front of him, but that was the best possible answer for Davis. Can he answer the bell? That's the real question. Can he get close enough to Trent to make any big difference as James O'Brien slides underneath Eric Hogg, Abner Acosta in the third too.
Ryan Sconley with a big moment just behind this, nearly gets up into the outside wall, is able to continue on though. Of course, watching that battle, it's a 3-car battle between James O'Brien, Eric Hogg, and Nick Gowan, Jeff Chandler in that one as well. So 4 cars, but up front, Maverick Davis is absolutely keeping Trent Dinkel honest right now. Was up to the rear bumper just moments ago of that car, and the top 3 are together. Abner Acosta right there as well. James O'Brien trying to close that gap. You see right there on your screen, quickest lap by Trent Dinkel just moments ago. So he saw these guys coming even closer and decided, yeah, no, I'm going to step on it. I'm getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, how impressive of a lap that was. It was in the 18-second mark, and he just set another fastest lap of the race, 18.978. That is flying, and he knew Maverick was right there, and he had to answer the bell. So in the question of who answered it, well, I think Trent cracked it. And no, it's not Philadelphia in the Liberty Bell. It's Trent Dinkel in the number 9 machine.
That is great right there. I absolutely love it. But, you know, that's the difference between a good driver and a great driver. When you have that extra little bit of gear that you can throw in it when you need to. Nick Gowan with a big moment here. Looks like he's coming to a slow off of turn number 4. Able to gather it back up, though. He is going to be under immense pressure, so not sure what's happened to Nick Gowan. We'll see if he's able to continue on. He's just absolutely falling to the tail of the field. But my point was, those drivers that have the extra bit of gear, the extra level that they can step it up when they need to, like we've seen out of Trent Dinkel right here, who has been consistently running in the low 19s or the 18s. He just has been absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, the 25 is spinning off of 2, but somehow saved it.
Wow.
Yeah, great car. My goodness. Anyway, that car, that could have been absolutely horrible. We're back to live action on track. Park Hilliard fighting for 12th place. Here's a replay of what happened, Robert, and you'll see here, might have been some contact.
Yeah,
with the curb.
He hits the curb, and that's absolutely some of the worst contact that you can take at this racetrack. Get down into the curb, going to send him around. And speaking of around, it's Dan Willis.
Caution for that Dan Willis has cost.
I thought you were going to
oh, man.
And I was going to tell you to get a new calculator.
My gosh.
going to be a solo spin by Willis in the 127. Just going to go around, bring out the caution once again, and this is going to tighten the field back up here. It's going to be Davis to the outside of Dinkle. Acosta, O'Brien, and Hag are going to be the trailing cars to round up the top 5. Greg Carr is rejoining the field as Dan Willis, Nick Gowan, and Jake Mackey head pit side here. All of those drivers had some sort of an issue over the last sequence of laps here. Coming up very quickly on the 10 minutes to go mark, just under 13 now. So just a couple of restarts left in the bank if we do need them here, Dylan. And I guess I should almost say when we need them, with the way that the racing has gone so far today. Unfortunately, no rhythm has really been able to be established at all.
Yeah, no rhythm whatsoever. It's been it has been when we are asked as broadcasters what do we do? Like, do we actually do any work? Like, it's got to be so much fun. We're trying here. There's not much that we can talk about. It's a podcast with some racing that happens every 2 minutes or so.
Do we have the schedule for the races coming up this season? Maybe we can touch on that a little bit, as we are, of course, in round number 2 of the season. We were at COTA a couple of weeks ago to kick this one off.
Well, we will wait for that to pop up, but with that schedule and going to a bunch of standardized tracks, I'm gonna try and find everything that will be needed to work. By the way, Maverick Davis is in our YouTube chat saying he didn't spin the tires, he restarted in 4th.
Oh, Maverick, come on now.
No, Maverick. Well, sometimes that happens. That's okay.
We've all
he's
done
right
it.
now. Yeah, we have all done it and done much worse. So I don't think we've got a schedule graphic for you to go in the lower thirds, but we are at Texas next week. It follows the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for the most part. Everyone's looking forward to Texas Motor Speedway, he says with a smile.
It should be a good one. There's definitely mixed reviews about that racetrack, but of course, heading to Texas, an opportunity for these drivers to widen it out and step on the gas pedal a little bit, see what we can do there. As
hey, we can do picture in picture.
We go to Texas, then we're going to head to Talladega. That should be a good one in 2 weeks' time. So we're going to get on a little bit of a roll here. Dover at the end of April, then Kansas to kick off May. Looks like Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and Charlotte to end the 9-round series. So should be a good one. Lots of great action still to come. And speaking of action, let's get set for a little bit more here at Martinsville.
Paperclip time, 10 minutes to go. We've got 1, maybe 2 cautions still left in this race, but green flag is about to come out. Dinkle leads the way. Not the jump Davis was hoping for. Abner Costa down the inside of him in a 1 and 2. They'll be side to side coming off the corner here, but Davis should have the run. Abner still putting that nose down the inside, leans up into that quarter panel. Davis almost lost it. More cars into the wall in 3 and 4.
Jake Mackey making contact with the wall at the tail of the field, but side-by-side continues here. Abner Acosta on the inside, Maverick Davis up top, just behind them. It is James O'Brien up top, Eric Hug on the bottom. So side-by-side for everyone in the top 5, with the exception of the race leader, Trent Dinkle, that has done an absolutely phenomenal job here so far today. Maverick Davis does clear into that second spot. Acosta just behind him. He's going to look for an opportunity to go side-by-side again here very shortly. I can guarantee you that. But the side-by-side continues for 4th and 5th on the track. Eric Hogg on the inside. O'Brien up top. O'Brien nearly into the outside wall there. And they're going to be trying to hold off Jeff Chandler in the 31, who is not too far behind them at this point. And just off the shot, actually just in the shot now. It's side-by-side. Adam Brockway and Mark Allen as Duncan Staroska goes around.
Is this 15 or 16 cautions? 16 cautions here.
There we go.
That's impressive.
I think, I'm not even going to say this one, Dylan. You're going to see it on the replay in a moment. It involved a familiar customer.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Yes, sir.
Don't tell me.
You know
Don't tell me-
exactly.
Don't tell me.
I
Don't
won't,
tell
I
me.
won't tell you.
If I switch the numbers around, would it be 712?
Yes.
No! All right. By the way, that Eric Hag scheme looks strangely like the Philadelphia Union logo from Major League Soccer. It does say Keystone, which is Pennsylvania.
Oh, maybe that was the vibe.
That is certainly a Philadelphia Union vibe logo. It's got the color. Yeah, that's. Yep. All right, let's look at the replay right here, and then we'll talk more about the Union.
There it is.
I
And
mean-
Willis into the left rear. I don't know that you can fully put the blame on Willis in this one. 'Cause
No, but he
the,
hasn't earned the.
Exactly. The benefit
He
of the
hasn't-
doubt not
yeah.
necessarily in play here, but Duncan Staraska did get a little bit loose prior to this incident, and they do come together. Great shot provided right here of the hood of that Eric Hawk machine, and I think you're definitely right, Dylan. A great vibe from the Philadelphia Union, I do believe you said.
Yes, sir. The Philadelphia Union. I mean, hey, we're talking Liberty Bell. We're talking Union.
Why don't we just go to Philly?
I mean, hey, I'm good with that. That's pretty much my hometown, so I'm great with that. Here's a look at the replay again. Okay, that puts it more on Willis. The door's
We'll give him the other shot to work with.
The door kind of opened, but in the sense that Staraska was diamonding the corner. Keystone Sim Sport, by the way, is the name of the team and the logo, and oh, I love that.
I mean, one thing I'll say, yes, we've had a lot of cautions tonight, but at least these race cars look pretty darn good out here. A lot of very, very beautiful liveries on board each and every one of these cars here tonight. So kudos to the painters that do a
Did you
lot
hear
of
that?
work.
An engine just expired in the background somewhere. I'm
Oh.
not sure who it was, but a engine just blew. Is it? Who was it? Was it Chris Hudson or Ryan Skolmy? John
Yeah,
Jones has a meatball.
John Jones has been sitting on pit road for quite a while, so what I would imagine here, Dylan, is he didn't turn the car off. And if you do sit on pit road for quite a period of time with that car running, it's going to heat up rather quickly, especially if you have existing damage. But pace car's off. Just over 5 minutes to go. Let's go race and see if we can make it to the end.
Might be the final restart for Maverick Davis to do anything about Trent Dinkel's advantage. Dinkel has led most of this race. Green flag back in the air. Dinkel gets just an okay start. Davis had a pretty solid one for himself too, but Abner Acosta still down the inside. It shoves Davis up. Acosta looking to take P2. Right now, this might be a battle for a second in the championship as we see all the cars shuffling as they head into turn 3.
Shuffling all around as Eric Hawk just took a little bit of a lick to the rear end from the Adam Brockway machine, but side by side continues for the second position. It is Davis up top, Acosta on the inside.
Oh, wiggles for both.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there as well, door to door between these drivers. Intensity through the roof, knowing that not many opportunities to continue as Park Hilliard and others are going to get collected and bring out the latest caution. Looks like Jake Mackey and Waldo Walden involved as well.
Oh boy. Well, we might go back to racing for 1 or 2 laps here, which means that Trent is gonna have to get the restart motors going again, and Davis is gonna have to have the restart of his life. Same with Acosta here, but we'll get a replay in just a moment. I was saying about Davis and Acosta that they were wiggling, but almost, I was gonna say they were wiggling so much that they almost turned their cars into fruit salad.
All right, I don't think I've ever heard that one before, but now we have. As we'll take a look at the replay and see what just happened here around the Park Hilliard machine. It's the 91.
That was an absolute send.
Very, very deep send into the corner, and that's going to collect multiple others. Jake Mackey and Waldo Walden are going to get collected, and Dylan, the unfortunate news for Waldo, we can no longer say where's Waldo because where he is back in the hauler, disqualified for reaching the incident cap today.
Well, we could ask it once,
Okay.
and that answer won't change.
Where's Waldo?
In the hauler.
Thanks, Dylan.
You're so welcome. We should get one. Is that a Venom helmet for Maverick Davis, by the way?
Yes, we did see that briefly at COTA. A very cool helmet for Maverick Davis. The Venom helmet, as you just pointed out.
Very nice. So, oh man, he's gonna have to drive Matt on this restart to have anything to do with Trent Dinkle. I'm almost positive we'll get this one restart going here, but that'll be it. Hopefully we finish this race under green flag conditions. It will go to time, and we will know if the white flag will be waving once that time hits 0. Sometimes the time-based series kind of does some weird things when you're on the final lap before a caution period ends, that even if the clock hits 0, but if you're rounding 3 and 4 and coming onto the front stretch, you'll still get that one lap shootout happening. And anything can happen here, but Trent has showed time and time again that this is just practice for him on these restarts.
We're definitely going to get a restart here as the laps around, even under caution, are pretty quick. The last time by for these drivers was 44 seconds. I believe the light should go off on the pace car this time. Yes, they do. So we're going to double up. Let's see what kind of a restart we can get out of Maverick Davis here. I noticed on the last one, he kind of laid back just a little bit to try to get more of a look at the Trent Dinkle number 9 car, but I think at this time he's going to have to go solely on the sound of the engine on the inside. As soon as he sees or hears any movement out of Trent Dinkle, he has to absolutely stand on it if he wants an opportunity to get there. But we cannot count out Abner Acosta. Aggression could come into play here as we get set to go green.
I think we're going to get 4 to 5 laps of racing action here before the checkered flag is shown. Hopefully we get that green flag back out into the air. Trent Dinkle leads the way. James O'Brien aggressively goes down to the inside. He's going to try and follow through with his teammate for private label Team Hype, and Abner Acosta. Into the wall goes Maverick Davis. He's losing ground and momentum to Abner Acosta. As 1 minute left in this race, it comes down to that. Acosta gets the position. Davis shuffled back into third.
Davis back to third, Acosta up to second, and we have one around. Adam Brockway gonna lead us back to caution. This might just about do it, Dylan. We'll have to wait and see if iRacing is willing to give us another shot, but if not, Trent Dinkle, Abner Acosta, Maverick Davis, the top 3 ahead of James O'Brien and Eric Haag.
Look at this result, the way it will play out, because iRacing will not have them restart here. It will be a Trent Dinkle victory. But Abner Acosta, I mean, hey, at the end of the season, if it comes down between he and Dinkle for P1 or P2, between he and Maverick Davis, that was a big moment for him to get that spot laid on. What happened here is, you see...
he just lost it.
42 just lost it.
There's no other way to put that. He just absolutely lost it into the corner, as you just saw in the top left corner on the time scoring final lap displayed. So this one is going to come to an end. And hey, you just saw him on the screen right there. Great recovery by Mark Kalin after his earlier issues. If you remember, folks, he did have mandatory damage at one point and is going to come home in position number 8. So great recovery by him here today. And as you see, we just got the official incident count, 18 yellow flag periods for a total of 86 laps.
Well, we're getting the checkered here, and Trent Dinkle will cross the line to take it over teammate Abner Acosta. Maverick Davis, his up and down day, he gets third. O'Brien in fourth, and Eric Haag rounds out the top 5. We spent 87 laps under the yellow flag, 180 laps total in the race. You do the math, and what, 93 laps of the green flag running, 87 of yellow flag running? That's like 51% of the race was spent under green.
Yeah, that's definitely not what we were hoping for, not what the drivers were hoping for. Obviously, Trent Dinkle is going to be pleased with the victory, but you got to wonder as well if maybe there's a little bit of frustration from the driver of that 9 car.
I don't think he's going to be happy about this no matter what.
No, that's the thing. There's always a little bit of frustration because you want those races to go a little bit cleaner, or a lot cleaner actually, where you're able to get out there and have the good battles. But we'll see what happens here. He's burning it down on the front straightaways. You do see the rest of the results here. Eric Hagg, of course, rounding out the top 5. As Dylan mentioned, Trent Dinkel, Abner Acosta, Maverick Davis, James O'Brien, Eric Hagg, the top 5. Jeff Chandler with a great run today, up 15 spots to finish 6th. Pat Harvey in 7th, able to recover from some issues earlier on. Mark Kalin with a great rebound, Dylan, from that required damage to finish 8th. Nicholas Gowan in 9th. Chris Hudson going to be the driver to round out the top 10. Fastest lap today as well by Trent Dinkel. We saw it earlier on, 18.978.
Yeah, Trent knew he had to keep it moving very quickly when Maverick Davis was right on his tail on the restart, and he wasn't really challenged that much in the race today, but when he was perfect as Walter Scolny, Willis, Carnathan, Mackey, Sarostka, Stevison, and Hilliard, your 18 drivers on the lead lap, with Greg Carr, Adam Brockway rounding out the top 20. 21st is Walden, Christian Jones, Bray, and Marshall Harris. And if you're Marshall Harris, you might feel like the biggest winner after all that, because he didn't have to sit through 174 laps more of that chaos. Well, the 3 podium finishers are ready to be queued up and talked to, and Trent Dinkel is the first that joins us in the booth. Trent, that was an exhilarating run for you. Take us through your thoughts.
I mean, my thoughts aren't super great. That was pretty ridiculous. I don't understand how it is so hard to run more than 10 laps green in Martinsville. But, just everybody was hacking it up big time. But that's the way that it's been all week, so I guess you can't really expect anything much different. I think it would have been cool to have some good runs. I mean, I don't think much would have changed. So obviously, I ran Maverick down a couple times and had one kind of questionable pass. But Abner was kind of hanging tough. But, I mean, other than me and Abner, we were just driving flat away from everybody. The couple laps we would get to drive. But, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it felt like, it was never a race where anyone could get into any sort of rhythm, but you had a lot of restarts, right? So you take from there, you kind of see the tendencies of everybody on the restarts, and I think the thing that probably you'd say is most in the unknown is you don't know how many restarts you'll have. 30 minutes left in the race, and you're like, okay, well, maybe we'll restart one more time, 2 more times. You probably think we'll restart 5 more times, which probably is exactly what happened. But so every restart, it's just more practice, right, for that final one, which you got and you did well. So what do you do in that situation where you're assuming we're going to restart more as the race progresses? So you're maybe not putting all your eggs in that one basket to burn the tires off there?
Oh, hell no. We were full tilt every lap, every restart. There wasn't one time where I was like, yeah, I'm going to save tires. I mean, I think we had, 90 laps on our tires, and I ran the fastest lap of the race, and then I ran the fastest lap of the race again with like 50 laps on my tires. And I mean, after you ran like 5 laps, then, the tire would come back and fall off pretty hard, but everybody's in the same boat. So, I mean, you might as well just go as hard as you can, and if you get that gap, then it's something you can manage. But I mean, it was more just the I think second restart when I was on the outside was a little sketchy. That top lane, I just was struggling with first gear launches. But I mean, other than that, it's just go as hard as you can. I was having pretty good success when I did pit, out braking everybody. It seemed like everybody was a little timid or not comfortable on the brakes, because even Maverick, I mean, I was at least a car length back and got underneath him to pass him twice. So yeah, I mean, it was just how fast you can go for 2 laps, and I think we did pretty good at that.
Well, I'd say so. You're a winner.
Yeah.
Trent Dinkel, congratulations. Back-to-back wins to start this season. We'll see if you can get another championship run going. 7 more to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a good one, Trent.
Thanks, Chip.
Oh, Robert, it's always a joy to talk with Trent Dinkle because he does give it to you straight, whether you want to hear it or not. He will say his thoughts, and his thoughts were not necessarily the most positive. I think that might be
Which
shared
is kind of
by.
what we anticipated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, and I think it's going to be shared by our second and third place finishers, both of whom you're standing by with Abner Acosta to start.
Yeah, Abner Acosta, it's Robert Hill up here in the booth. You get a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got a copy.
So you came up a little bit short to your teammate Trent Dinkle after what was a rather long race here at Martinsville tonight. Why don't you walk us through your event and how hard was it as a driver to get any sort of a rhythm behind the wheel with the caution flags we had this evening?
Yeah, it was terrible. I think we had like one little small run of like 10-15 laps, and I think that's all we had. And I don't think I had anything for Trent there. I saw, he was pretty much leaving me behind. So, but yeah, it was just a frustrating race. You didn't even have time to figure anything out. I was just loose the whole time, but I couldn't even try anything because so many cautions would just keep coming. So I mean, I'm glad it's over. Let's just say that.
That's kind of what we anticipated that you would say, and Trent did share some of those same thoughts as well. But on those final few restarts, it looked like you had an opportunity to potentially get up to the rear end of that Trent Dinkle number 9. Did you have any thoughts of maybe getting up there, giving him the bumper, and going by to sneak that victory yourself, or were you just ready to get it over with?
No, I wouldn't have done that, especially at the end. Trent was helping me get around Maverick by counting down the restarts for me. So I would have not. I didn't have the pace. I would have definitely not turned him. If it was a different situation where I knew I was as fast or something, maybe. But no, in that scenario, I was just trying to get ahead of Maverick and just for it to end.
And looking ahead on the schedule, we're going to head to Texas next week. What's your outlook for that one after 2 very strong opening rounds for that number 5 team?
Well, I just hope right now it's a bigger track, so I hope no yellows. I hope long green flag runs. That's all I want. I don't even care what I finish. I just want no yellows.
It's definitely a good goal and definitely a good wish as well. Abner, before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank for putting that number 5 car out on the racetrack?
I want to thank our partner label Team Hype, Racing Radios, Ethica, and RaceSpot for broadcasting the races. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on your runner-up finish tonight. We look forward to seeing you down there at Texas and see if maybe we can have a nice green flag dash to the end. Abner, congratulations and have yourself a good night.
See you.
And that was our second place finisher, Abner Acosta. Now going to be joined by the driver rounding out the podium here tonight, Maverick Davis. Maverick, do you have a copy, my friend?
Yeah, what's going on?
You had yourself a very eventful night. I would say that's probably an understatement. Of course, started on the pole, had an early issue which put you towards the rear of the field. Seems like you were able to get yourself back up through the field, ran into another issue, and then finally settled yourself up there on the podium. But why don't you walk us through your night and some of the challenges you faced out there on the racetrack?
Man, I don't even know. It was definitely a rough race. I'm surprised I'm even in here talking to you right now. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for next week, but I don't even know if I'll be able to race with how bad the race went. So, yeah, I mean, I was really like nervous because it's the first time I've ever gotten a pole position in here, and I was definitely very excited about that. But yeah, just kind of nerves and trying to cross over Trent and hit the curb, and yeah, then everything was kind of downhill from there. It was uphill battle, but eventually started getting it back and getting back up front, trying to just stay clean and I guess not spin tires or anything.
Now, obviously, you were able to work your way back up there to finish on the podium. The last few restarts, you were able to be side by side with the race leader, Trent Dinkle, or the race winner, Trent Dinkle, as it came down towards the tail of it. Is there something you might have done a little bit differently on those restarts now looking back at it?
I don't know. I was trying to be as on top of the restarts as I could have been, and yeah, that one restart where I restarted in fourth, definitely not my greatest moment. But that happens. I don't know. I knew for sure that Trent was giving Abner a countdown on that last one, so regardless, I would have had to have the greatest guess in the restart zone to be able to be right alongside with him again. So, as far as that goes, I probably wouldn't do anything different. I think everything else was pretty good, especially after how the night started. So I'm definitely happy.
Happy indeed, Maverick. Before we let you go here tonight, any shout-outs you want to give or sponsors you want to thank for putting that 15 car on the podium tonight?
Definitely got to shout out Team Connie. They do an amazing job with sets every week. Stuff is fast. Shout out my main man, Michael Peters. He helps me out with the mental stuff and getting me hooked up every week, and definitely just, I don't know, he's my guy. And then the new MAD logo on the car will be MAD Racing, which is an acronym of my initials actually, which is pretty cool, MAD. So yeah, that's something new. Probably you'll hear more about it in the future here shortly.
Definitely looking forward to hearing that, Maverick. Congratulations on the podium finish here tonight, and we'll see you down in Texas.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, Dylan, that wraps up our podium interviews here tonight. You heard some frustration from some of these drivers, a little bit of relief out of Maverick Davis, and looking ahead, let's head to Texas next week and see if we can put on a show.
Yes, we're going to go to the parking lot that is turn 2, and we're going to go up to the condominiums there and broadcast the race from there, you and I, Robert. That's what we're doing, okay?
Sounds good to me, my friend.
Oh, it's a beautiful view from that condo up top. I have been there before to watch practice, and it's so cool. I just wish the racing was a little bit better. There we go. There's the condo. The very top is an incredible view. Nonetheless, Texas next week, next Sunday, same time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But from here, Trent Dinkle wins his second straight race to open up Season 2 of the PRL Cup Series. I'm Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Robert Hill, as well as Nick Hunter and Mike Yao in the booth. We wish you all a pleasant good evening, good night, and good racing.